Salutations. Oh wait, I have to get closer. Salutations everyone, welcome to another live stream. Now, I was very hesitant on doing another live stream, but of course, there was a colossal debate, and I want to talk about that. I really want to talk about that. So, let me just test the audio. It might be really destitute, but honestly, it's better than having a weak microphone. So let me just test the audio. It might be really destitute, but okay. I'll try speaking slow as I can because I do have the tendency to speak very swift. Let's go. Now, if you watched the debate early in the morning, well, for me it was midnight, half past midnight, and honestly, this one was really painful. Now, I'm not really a big fan of watching a lot of debates because honestly, it's very painful, especially being in a debate as well, it's painful. I used to be in debates in the past, and trust me, it was very, very painful because I'm very slow at it, so people will always have the upper end, and I would always get the amazing points after the debate is over. I'm very slow at that. But I have to say that this debate takes a really big uh, pie, if that makes sense. Basically, from the beginning of this debate, uh, it's about abortion. From the beginning of this debate, there were a lot of uh, cutting each arguments. So I feel like that does set the mood for the rest of the debate, because if people watch the first few minutes, for a fact, hey, someone's cutting someone else, you won't really like it. And honestly, this one was not the best, even though the cutting of the debate of each other's lines slowly decreases, but honestly, it's just a bit painful to watch. The debate, by the way, is of Michael Knowles. I should have said this first. Michael Knowles and uh, Victoria Ammett. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, but should I really apologize? Um, she is part of a alliance called Gen Z for Change. Now, as someone who's part of Gen Z, I can tell you that many of us, gobs of us, are far left. I'm not joking. I'm not making this up. There are many reasons why uh, gobs of us are far left. You know, I don't think everyone who's Gen Z is on the right or even libertarian. A lot of people say that, especially the old ones, which they're heavily wrong, you know, because you need to look very carefully to what's going on. Who do you see most of the time when it comes to Gen Z on the news? These far left Gen Z people, you know, and there's many reasons why they are far left or keep pushing further left. It's to do with the schools, social media, and obviously not having anyone to challenge them. Um, I'm just saying, it's really absurd that my generation is the most far left generation in history, okay? And some people may say, oh, that will change. No, no, it's not going to change. I'm sorry, but the old days of liberals transitioning to conservatives as they age doesn't work anymore. These people get further and further left. They transition from liberal to left in a couple of years. It's so scary. And obviously, when you point this out, people try to say some strange things about you, like, oh, no, 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 it's not happening. It's the other side. They are going so far. But it's like, no, they have not been going so far. They've stayed very close to their positions for the past few years. But anyways, Victoria is a progressive Christian. Make whatever you want of that, to be fair, because let's be real, it doesn't make sense in the slightest. I'm not a Christian. I don't know that much about Christianity, but what I do know is that progressive Christianity is not real Christianity. It's kind of like just comforting yourself with certain beliefs and not really listening to the truth, you know? So, this idea of having um, progressive Christianity, it is harmful to actual Christians because it leads people astray from Christianity and it leads them to a pathway that is not the best, because with progressive Christianity you get to choose whatever you don't want from Christianity and whatever you want, so yeah, I've seen a couple of progressive Christians, and trust me, it's the fact that some of their stuff just doesn't feel so well, it just doesn't work as well, it doesn't fit properly. It feels like they're just riding on the bandwagon and not really understanding that they're not really Christians, you know. But anyways, moving on. This debate goes on for a long time. I'm not even joking. It's a lengthy debate. 1 hour and almost 40 minutes. It's absurd. But of course, if you have the time, you can watch it. I watched it to like an hour. I put my headphones down, let the stream go on for a couple of minutes. I paced about, thinking of what I just witnessed, and then I closed my laptop because let's be real, I can't wait that long. It's very early for the stream to start in my country. Midnight. That's too early. And to sit for an hour staring at a screen, especially during times where I'm supposed to be taking 40 winks, it's not fair. You know. So I decided to watch it anyways because I'm very, very keen on the idea that this can help. This little bit of me chatting on the live stream can help in some way. It can help in some way fight. I know it doesn't seem so seems like a proper argument, but trust me, you know I can't do that much right now. So the best thing I can do is support these creators who actually push the limits of their activism. So I went in the no, not live stream, premiere. I'm sorry, I get those things mixed up. Premiere, live stream, very confusing. But premiering videos are pre-recorded. Anyways, also I would comment on the chat, on the chat at the bottom of the video, because I want the algorithm to push it up. The only way in which your videos will item is to kind of take advantage of the algorithm, which is leaving likes, commenting, you know. Oh, of course, I forgot sharing. I should have shared it. My bad. But at least I'm sharing it over here in this live stream, which some people won't watch, but it's totally fine. I'll share it on my posts. Uh, but still, it's been a very, very uh, hard to watch debate. But at the same time, there was one point that I'm so sorry. This is so early in the morning, and my voice has not really matured so well. Um, in fact, it never matured. Uh, so there's one thing I want to point out. This debate slowly turns from abortion to transgenderism within a few minutes. It's so crazy. And I just want to say that this woman, Victoria, she just goes crazy. She goes crazy when you even mention anything of this sort. You know, Michael Knowles brings up Leah Thomas, and then he calls her a boy. And Victoria, her eyes just widen up. There are parts in the stream where she's smirking. She's giving this wicked smile, and then Michael will just say, Leah Thomas or some other trans person is not a woman, and her eyes and an entire body would twitch. Oh my goodness, this was so painful to watch. Because you can see that smugness in slowly fade away. because she is so crazy. Honestly, um, you can tell from her abortion arguments that, yeah, she isn't really someone who is the best. Okay. And when it comes to the transgender stuff, she has stated that for some reason, hold on, I'm trying to remember now. Uh, well, I only watched an hour in, just putting it out there, because honestly, that was too long for me. But still, when it came to the transgender debate, she said Leah Thomas should be in the women's sports. She said that, she said that, she said that. I'm not kidding. She said Leah Thomas should be with the women's sports. And that's it. She is a real woman, which doesn't make any sense. And then I want to point out something. The abortion argument was about bodily autonomy. This new catchphrase, this new term they always use, bodily autonomy. Never heard about this in the past 4 years. They always try and find some words, new words, because honestly, the old ones get worn out very easily, and it doesn't make any sense in the slightest. And then she says, "Oh, trans women are women." How can you say that and then say bodily autonomy? This person says she's a physiologist. Like, I don't even know it, psychologist, whatever she is. At this point, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, just because you someone who claim to be this or you are this, doesn't mean you can change. You can, try and bully people into your reality. And it is insane to see how she defended it. Look. She defended Leah Thomas in women's sports, and then she said, the hormones will change and stuff like that. It will change you and all these things. And it's just hard to see these people debate about this, because for one important thing, we're talking about Leah Thomas. Leah Thomas still has the advantage. Leah Thomas still had the advantage, and to put her in with a woman is not so fair. And obviously, when Michael brought this up, this chick immediately went to the pay gap. She immediately said, "Oh, what about the pay gap? The pay gap between sports?" And it's like, what? What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense, because men and women both have a different audience. Just saying, they have a different audience. Not everyone wants to watch women's sports. Not everyone wants to watch men's sports. Not everyone wants to watch sports at all. So at the end of the day, it's all about the audience. Some players do pay a lot. Male sports are really well known. Females isn't. And I'm just saying that doesn't account for them earning the same, because it just doesn't make sense in the slightest. You know, we're not talking about doing the same thing. The women's division is way different. I'm just putting it out there, okay? And to bring that up, it's kind of silly. This pay gap stuff has been debunked, but once again, she brought this up because trying to make it seem like it's a terrible argument for what Michael brought up about the trans stuff. It doesn't make any sense. And Michael asked her about, what about the girls who feel uncomfortable with the transgender stuff? I can't remember what she said. I really can't remember at all. Honestly, this was really painful to watch, because the trans stuff was really embarrassing. And once again, she literally said, um, birthing people. She said birthing people, birthing people, birthing people. Okay, this woman wants to talk about bodily autonomy, and then say birthing people. Okay, she started off with women's bodily autonomy. 5 minutes later, birthing people. Not 5 minutes later, like almost an hour later, but you know what I mean. It doesn't make sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? These arguments only are there for comfort. They're only there to comfort someone and not really provide any proper meaning. It doesn't translate to anything at all. To have a good argument, you know, it should at least comfort you and have meaning. You can't have the bodily autonomy argument and then say bothering people. And then you said some trans man, that's biologically a woman. So basically, you kind of destroyed your own arguments, but still. Uh, and then, and then, honestly, there was this big debate about. Uh, I'm sorry if you hear anything in the background. I'm really sorry. But there was this big debate also about um, adoption, and this woman said, anyone under 18 can. Okay, now I can't remember the argument. You see how much they argued for. Honestly, my brain is rotting. But they were talking about this, and she said something outrageous, and I can't remember. My head is all boiled up. I only had a couple hours of sleep. What do you expect? But seriously though, you all should watch it for yourself and see what she says. I really wish Michael kept stopped. Sorry, as I said in the past, my speaking is terrible. My writing may be creative as can be, but my speaking is completely terrible. Michael kept cutting her up in the early parts, and obviously it just trying to respond quick as possible. But I think that it should at least let the arguments flow by, and then you can actually uh, respond to that. However, as I said, when Michael just mentioned anything about trans stuff, her face just shriveled. It was so crazy to watch. Honestly, from a smirking little brat to feeling pain, I guess it was so crazy. Honestly, um, now many of these woke Gen Z people, many of them, they have been really, really obnoxious. I'm just gonna say it over here. It's really embarrassing that how my own generation is such a crazy generation. And this is a generation that's supposed to be better and smart. No, 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 no. 10 generations ago, humans were smart. Okay, 10 generations ago. This generation is absolutely lost. I'm not stating that there's no good people. I'm one of the good people in this generation, but we're just a handful compared to the colossal size of woke Gen Z people. Honestly, the amount of woke Gen Z people, it's out of this world. It's out of this world. I would have to say that social media is part of it as well. Uh, these freaking uh, talk show hosts, teachers, all these people have to deal with mass brainwashing. You know, it was a painful thing to watch, but I am glad it's over. Now, what will she gain out of this? I don't know. What I've been hearing is that she does have um, an army of simps on TikTok. By the way, did I mention she's from TikTok? Yeah, I know. She does have an army of white knights, so that's something concerning because when you possess an army of such a type, it's very difficult to get things across. You know. Moving on, moving on. I have also heard that countless people on the right have debunked her videos on TikTok. Okay, I've yet to see that, but honestly, I hope so. I hope there were a plethora of them who debunk uh, ideas because honestly, the way she's pushing this crazy things, it's absurd. Second thing is the sipping of the cup. I don't even know what was in the cup. She kept sipping and sipping. Like the cup is too small to possess that much water. Okay, the amount of times she sipped stuff from it's so crazy. Like was anything over there? I don't even know. Oh, oh, this was such a painful thing to watch. bots, pro-aborts don't feel ashamed for what they're doing. There are people out there who have 20 abortions, even more. Don't be surprised that they love this type of stuff. So when you are encircled with such people, you tend to get a different perspective. She did also state that she used to be pro-life and then transitioned into pro-choice, which doesn't make sense as well because how can you do that, you know? And she was raised with pro-life values. I don't know how someone who was raised with such values can turn into someone of such a of sorry. As I said, my speaking is so terrible. I can't believe that someone who was raised pro-life and a Christian can turn into such a woke person. You know, uh, because honestly, it's turning to a point where plenty people can easily be misinformed. Anyone can be easily misinformed now, and that's something so terrifying. I hate my voice so much. I hate my voice so much. It's really obnoxious. Hey, what else can I do to be there? Uh, okay. So this debate has been really insane, and I do worry on what this could have, what problems it could have in the future, you know? Because this chick has a lot to learn, you know, because honestly, the things she said is just really absurd. I feel like a lot of people do have a lot of things to learn, you know, and when it comes to their arguments, it falls apart. It falls apart very easily. And that's something to point out as well. The arguments are as weak as a straw, you know, because it's just to provide comforts. It doesn't have any meaning whatsoever. So when they say my body, my choice, obviously we all know that doesn't have any meaning. And then they'll say men should not have an opinion on this, which doesn't make sense because they then will say men can become women, so I can become a biological woman with no womb whatsoever just by taking hormones. And then 5 minutes later they'd say no uterus, no opinion. But isn't that transphobic? But for some reason that's totally fine. Then they would say uh, crazy things like, you know, men can get pregnant. Men can get pregnant, they say. Okay. And then they say if men could get pregnant, then abortion facilities would be open everywhere, which doesn't make sense in the slightest. Because here's the thing. Here is the thing. If men could get pregnant, they wouldn't be men. Okay? We would be a asexual species. We would have no need to be amongst different people. There would be no need to commingle with different people because we can get ourselves pregnant. So yeah, you know, it's like worms. Worms can get themselves pregnant. So at the end of the day, we wouldn't even be a male and female species. We would just be a asexual species. And I kind of doubt even if we were, abortions would be a thing because we could control what what and when we want to have a child. You know, all I'm saying is, honestly, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense in the slightest. They keep pushing for this stuff, but they have no proper meaning for any of their arguments. As I said yesterday, YouTube CEO wants to ban disinformation on stuff like this, and that's the problem. Is what is a opinion on disinformation? What does she claim is disinformation? What does she claim is not facts? And that's the problem. You know, they decide what the facts are. So if someone has a video on abortion and what happens, they can take it down because to them it's not factual. Because to them that's not a life. That is just a bunch of cells, nothing more. That doesn't even correlate to them at all as being a human. So For them, they can ban anything, anything at all. And I want to point out that this is why we need alt technology. We need different social media sites, not just the big three or the big four. We need more than that. And I think it's time for people to realize that we don't need this. You know, YouTube has turned into something so crazy, and it continues to turn into something so stupid. You know, I really miss the good old days of YouTube. This is gonna change so much. Um, anyways, anyways, uh, alright. So, we have a lot to discuss. Fun fact, the channel Geeks and Gamers, I've used their images a lot on my thumbnails. Um, they made a video quite some time ago calling this Halo series woke. And of course, people dogpiled on them, attacked them, attacked them for having an opinion. That was totally correct, because this show is a woke fest. I'm not even joking. The show is totally woke. It doesn't make any sense. And when Geeks and Gamers called it out, for some reason, they were considered evil. And all those people who mock them, I'm waiting for their apology. I'm waiting for their apology. Fun fact, they won't bestow a freaking apology upon Geeks and Gamers because they're too evil. What else can we say about this, to be fair? You know, when people pointed out early on what's gonna happen, you know, you need to at least look at it very carefully. I want you to take a look at the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's about to come very soon. It's literally going to be a bait and switch. The leaks are out, and obviously it's going to be so sad to see a bunch of people lose faith in Star Wars again. Okay? Man, a lot of articles I'm not going to cover. But seriously, we have a lot to discuss, okay, when it comes to stuff like this. I really feel sad for all those people who lost their favorite franchises to the woke mob. It's not fair. It really isn't fair in the slightest. And the only way to gain your favorite franchise, to protect it, to shield it, is to purchase it. And none of y'all have that kind of money to purchase such a series, or a show, or a whatever you want to call it, a genre possibly, if you want to call it that. No, okay, not really genre. No, a series. Um, honestly, what else can I say? It's really painful to see everyone's shows fall to grace, and then when a different show comes up, there's plenty of reasons why it's going to be a bait and switch, and people say, no, just shut up, you're just being mean, you know? Look what happened when it came to He-Man. The showrunner literally said, it's not going to be a bait and switch. All those people who said that are liars and stuff, even though they got perfectly good leaks, they were considered to be liars. And then it turns out that the showrunner of He-Man completely lied. He baited and switched the character. He baited and switched the character. Literally within the second episode. He killed off the main character in the first episode, and then took off for the second episode with another character, you know? People wanted to see He-Man, but they got She-Mail instead. It's so embarrassing how these people would lie through their teeth. A lot of woke shows keep coming up, and I'm worried when will there be a good show. You know, we won't get them. We won't get them for a long time. We have to make our own, and that's very important to mention. We have to make our own because what's the point in waiting for Hollywood to bless us with such graceful movies? What's the point? I'm not really looking forward for that anymore. You know, I'm not looking forward for any of that stuff. You know, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be a problem to expect so much from people who don't like us. You know, people in Hollywood, they rancor us. They rancor our beliefs. They rancor our existence. Not everyone, but gobs of them do. And at this point, some of them need to get the message and realize that we need to make our own stuff, you know, and not rely on them. There's no point in relying on completely like these Hollywood people. We can make our own stuff, our own video games, our own movies. We don't need them. We need to realize that we don't need them. Make our own IPs where it can stand amongst the greatest of the greatest, and it'll be perfect. It will be so scrumptious. Okay, I want to talk about flowers are the beauty. Now, I've been trying to get this through for such a long time. I'm very gladdened that I took some time to procrastinate because if I have not done that, Flowers Are the Beauty could have been heavily weak. It could have had terrible characters. Leaving it for a couple of years have made me realize that there's more to this visual novel than just the bad villain. The hero needs to be more empowered. So obviously, we need to give her scenarios where she needs to fight and obviously have her personality shine out. So Flowers of the Beauty is going to possess quite a cast of characters, and I hope people get to enjoy them. Some characters will die off very quickly, so I'm just saying, some people might get attached to these characters so swiftly, but immediately they'll die off. The next thing is obvious that when it comes to trans characters, I've been thinking of, of adding at least 2 trans characters. Back in 2019, when I was slowly developing this visual novel, I created this trans character, and obviously it felt amazing, but at the same time, the character is not going to have a major plot point in any way possible. So yeah, but you have to make sure the personality of the character's likes and dislikes have to shine out. I really want this visual novel to be great, but if I make it too long, it'll take so much of my time. I cannot allow that. I cannot allow that to take too much of my time. I have to make sure that it's perfect enough. And obviously, it's going to have 9 chapters. Each chapter specializes in its own specific villain. So each chapter will have a villain. It could be either a monster or a person or whatever. And obviously, that sounds fun. But to be fair, that's going to be a lot of work. That's a lot of work. The first chapter itself will be a lot of work. It is going to be a free visual novels, as I promised in the past. However, certain spin-offs with the series might be costing a bit, but that's a discussion for another day. I really want the series to be great. I don't think it will be super great, but it will be somewhat great. I really hope that the music is great. I need to make the music. I need to edit the music. It's going to be such a pain. It's going to be such a drag. I'm not really someone who makes a lot of music, but I have to try. Or maybe get my brother to help. I don't know. This visual novel is going to be pretty cool. And I want the best out of this. 9 chapters seem a lot, plus certain things in between that actually spread the culture of the world. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a really long visual novel. Anyways, I guess that's it. Have an amazing day. My throat is ebbing, so I have to go right now. I'm really hungry. I never had breakfast. I just had my cup of tea. So I have to go. Have an amazing day.